So if you're living paycheck to paycheck and feel like you'll always be in debt, what can you do to better manage your money, improve your credit score, and really start saving? Carl Casper is the Vice President of Customer Advocacy at Connex Credit Union and is here with tips to help you become more financially savvy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let's talk about this for a second, Carl. Why are people struggling financially so much?
Well, I mean, times are tough, Teresa, that's for sure. But I think one thing that everybody can do to get control of their situation is to understand what money's coming in and what money's going out. So that struggle may not have to be as bad as it is.
So what happens when you can't make your payments? The bills are coming in, you can't make it out. That's ultimately going to affect your credit score.
Sure. And you know, we talked a little bit about you know, credit score and how it impacts everything that really touches your life, from whether you can get a loan, whether you can get an apartment. It's always hard. The first step is to create a good budget. I think it's to understand, again, what money's coming in, what money's going out, and how that impacts your credit score. Your credit score really is it's integral today into everything that you do. So understanding how you can make that better and improve that is very important.
So, Carl, let's get into the ways we could actually fix or improve the credit score. Number one, you say check your credit report.
Yeah, that's such an important tip, because you can, by law, you can get a copy of your credit report every year for free. And there are 3 major companies that provide them, and you can go online and you can find that information. When you get that credit report, it's important that you scour through it, because there are a lot of things on there that may be wrong, but it also gives you a sense of how other people are viewing you.
Okay. And then you say it's important to set up payment reminders.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the largest things that impacts your credit score is how good of a payer you are. So if you're, you know, late on a lot of payments, it definitely impacts your credit score. So it's important that you do things. If you have a hard time remembering things like I do, I set up reminders. I use Mint software so that I know, it gives me a warning. Hey, in 9 days this payment is due. I set up recurring payments so I don't have to think about it. That way I'm sure that I'm always making my payments on time, because that's so important.
Now, does it matter what time of the month you pay these? Whether the day they get bill in, should you pay it right away or should you wait closer?
You know, I think that's a function of how well you budget. But if you're someone like me who forgets, you want to make sure that you do I always try to set it up for at least 5 to 7 days before the bill is due.
Got it.
So that I always make sure that, you know, if I use bill pay, which is a great feature, a lot of banks and credit unions have it, that my payment gets there on time.
Okay, reduce the amount of debt you owe.
Yeah, I mean, that's another one, right? We talk about struggling and you know, kind of stretch back to building a budget. People say, oh, I have this credit card debt, I just can't get out of it. But, you know, if you create a budget and you start paying down on some of that debt monthly, or if you're a homeowner and you can consolidate some of your debt by using a home equity loan or something like that, get rid of that high interest debt first. Okay. Absolutely. And then, you know, everything else sort of falls into place.
Sure. Let's talk about closing accounts. It doesn't necessarily make it go away, and it might not be the best thing for your credit score.
Another key thing about your credit score is that the length of time that you've had an account open is very impactful. So if you've had a credit card for 7 or 10 years and you've been a good payer on that credit card, that means a lot more than having, say, 10 credit cards.
Really? So keep it open, even with like a zero balance?
Yeah, because it shows that you have the capacity to have a credit relationship for a long time, and that's important in your score.
Makes sense. All right, let's move on to managing debt. You mentioned create a budget and stick to it.
Sure.
Probably know where to access it.
I mean, and there's plenty of different software packages that can help you do that, but it's really important that you sit down with your checkbook open and figure out, where am I spending my money? What is it? What do I pay for my oil bill or my electric bill, or, you know, my rent or my mortgage? And what do I spend my money on? Is it, you know, a credit card debt? Is it you know, a car payment? What is it? And so that you understand the ins and outs. And then, you know, fundamental to that is figuring out, well, what do I spend the rest of my money on?
Well, that's true, right? Are you going out to eat a little too much, maybe?
You know, is it the iPhone? Am I buying too many apps? I mean, what is it that you're spending your money on? Understanding that, you know, that's when you start to find the opportunities to save some money.
Sure, cut back a little.
That's right, so that you can do some of the other things that are more meaningful for you.
Plan for unexpected emergencies. A lot of people don't do this.
No, and this is another important thing. You know, and there have been some different schools of thought on this. Some people say save 6 months worth of your bills. Some people say bank a year's worth of your salary. You know, it sounds hard, it sounds onerous, but things do come up, and it's important that you have some money to provide a cushion. And again, if you budget properly, people always say pay yourself first. So when you pay yourself, bank it, put it in a savings account or some other vehicle, you're setting up that rainy day fund so that when something happens, you're prepared for it.
That makes sense. And lastly, you say try to pay off your entire balance on the credit card each month.
Yeah, I mean, that's easier said than done.
Of course it is.
Easier said than done. But it's great to be able to use that free money for the 30 days that the credit card companies are letting you use it. But when you start to revolve a balance, it starts to become very expensive. So if you can, only charge what you can pay back and then pay it off each month so that you're not...
Good words to live by. Carl, let's talk about becoming more financially savvy. You say the first step is to open a checking account.
Yeah, I think everybody needs an account to move payments through. You have to pay your bills, and a checking account is a perfect vehicle. Nowadays, there are so many different things that come with a checking account. It behooves you to have one if you don't already,
Sure.
and many people do. But a good checking account is probably the first step.
And to go along with that, create a budget, track your expenses. We talked all about that.
Yeah.
Carl, I want to ask you, Connex is a credit union. How does that differ from a bank?
Well, it differs. Credit unions were founded on the basis of thrift and helping their members save, be thrifty. Banks were formed to help promote commerce, right? So in a credit union, we're a cooperative and we're nonprofit. So we're up rolling back to our members in terms of better rates on CDs or savings accounts or lower rates on loans, and it's just a different business model. Sure. But it's more geared towards helping our members rather than a shareholder somewhere.
Makes sense. Now, Connex has several locations around the state.
We do. We're predominantly in New Haven County, but one near you, I'm sure.
And Leslie, you talked about Mint, but Connex also has a mobile app.
We do, and we have Finance Works. It's part of our online package, but the mobile app that we just rolled out, and it's fantastic. We talk about setting payment reminders. You can set reminders on an app, and I mean a lot of apps will do it, but our app does it obviously. So when your payments are coming due. You can search for. We have a network of over 5,000 ATMs that you can get to by pushing the button on our app and finding an ATM near you. So there are a lot of things that it can do. Remote deposit capture is really popular now.
Yeah,
you get that birthday check from grandma.
You could just zap it, right? You don't even have to go to the credit union anymore.
No, you don't even have to leave your house, and,
That's fantastic.
and the money gets in your account. So it's very convenient. And when we talk about a checking account, I didn't mention this, but when you're watching those little nits and gnats of your budget and what you're spending money on, I mean, are you spending money every month on just a checking account fee?
Well, that's true too.
And we offer a free checking account, which is very popular, obviously. But it's when you're watching all those pennies. Somebody used to say, "Watch the pennies and the dollars will follow." It's very true.
All right, Carl, thank you so much for the advice here. And for more information on Connex Credit Union, you can call 1-800-CR-UNION or visit connexcu.org and start making a budget.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, Carl. Coming up next, I recently spoke with Kiara Teek about dating in the digital age. We'll share that interview after the break.